yesterday we saw race one of the second round of the Shell Advanced Asia Talent Cup here at the Losail International Circuit in Qatar, and what a race it was. A group of 9 riders broke away from the rest of the field with pole sitter Nakarin, Atirat Puvapat and Ayumu Sasaki dicing at the front along with Kazuki Masaki. Helmi Asman and Faghrusi Rostam unfortunately crashed out, as did Tom Edwards here. They crashed out of the leading group under braking at the end of the start-finish straight, but luckily both riders escaped without injury. Utadate, the runner-up last year in the cup, fell away from the main group as the injury to his right leg affected his performance. Meanwhile, the leading group of Atirat Puvapat, Andi Izdihar, Somiyat Chantra, Takuma Kunimine, Masaki and Sasaki were constantly swapping positions at the front. And on the last lap, it was Sasaki who made a break, with only Masaki sticking with the leader initially. Sasaki was first out of the final turn with Masaki on his back wheel. As they were so close, they approached the line that they actually made contact and were overtaken by both Kunimine and Chandra to knock Sasaki down to third. Sasaki remains the leader of the Advanced Asia Talent Cup after race 3 of the scheduled 12.
Well, it's a very good afternoon to you all from the Losail International Circuit in Qatar. Beautiful conditions here in Doha for the 4th race of the 2015 Shell Advanced Asia Talent Cup. The 22 best young prospects from Japan, Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, Philippines, China and Australia about to do battle in what promises to be an enthralling 14-lap race. Dylan, we were treated to some incredible action yesterday afternoon. Winner of the race, Takuma Kunimine, forcing himself right back into a championship contention with an outstanding win. As we look at the grid,
it was absolutely fantastic, Matt. You're completely right. And I think one of the nice things is today we have the exact same conditions. Not much has changed, not quite so windy as it was yesterday, but still very, very hard. And this man here, Nakarin Atirat Puvapat. Now, he finished the race in 6th yesterday, which I think was a bit of a shame for him because he was right up there in that leading group. But as we saw, it was so close when they came down that final start-finish straight, as we just saw in the highlights. So today, he's going to want to plan his strategy slightly better.
Yeah, just lost out on that big drag to the finish line. Then he put a rear wheel on the AstroTurf. That cost him all of his drive grip. And as you say, it looked like he might be back on the podium at Atirat Puvapat, but he unfortunately lost all that drive, as we say, and he finished in that 6th position. Number 22 there, Ayumu Sasaki, the championship leader after the first 3 races. Of course, these riders were out for the first time last weekend at the Buriram circuit in Thailand, and Sasaki second in both races and back on the podium again yesterday, starting second on the grid, the Japanese rider.
I know, he was so disappointed in Parc Ferme. Obviously, he'd led all that while, but, you know, now he's learned his lesson. Don't lead into the final corner.
Yeah, he didn't look a very happy person, did he, on the podium? So he obviously felt that he should have won that 3rd round of the championship, Sasaki.
No, exactly. And then in 3rd place here, the number 23 bike, Andi Izdihar from Indonesia. Yesterday finished the race in 5th. Once again, he was one of the guys up there in that leading group. He led for a few parts of the race. He was dicing it up with Sasaki quite often. Once again, it's those final stages. You do wonder what the mentor Alberto Puig said to them last night.
4th place on the grid for Takuma Kunimine, the winner of yesterday's race. Of course, it was an absolutely frenetic battle. Just 0.04 of a second covered the top 4 at the finish line. It was Kunimine that took the checkered flag. And as we said, dragging himself right back in to championship contention. That's 25 points, moving him on to 45 in the championship. Just 11 points now behind his compatriot in the lead, Sasaki.
And so important, I think, for him to get that kind of result, because he didn't make the best start to the championship in Thailand, but he is one of the veterans, we can say. He was in the championship last year, but I think a great talent there from Japan. Fantastic to see these guys up there dicing it up, you know, exactly like we see in the Moto3 championship. And here, Helmi Asman from Malaysia. Now, Asman yesterday wasn't quite such a good race because he did unfortunately crash out as he made contact with Fakhrusi Rostam down the main straight, just touched the rear wheel there. But of course the main thing, Matt, uninjured and able to race today, and hopefully would have learned something from that incident.
Absolutely. We'll have a look at Fakhrusi Rostam next on the grid in 6th position, the young Malaysian. As Dylan said, both of those riders fortunate to get away with that nasty-looking incident at the first corner in that frantic battle for 9, which did become 7. Not been an easy start to the season for Rostam. 7 points from the first 3 races. A DNF in the first round in Thailand. He was 9th in the second race at the Chang International Circuit. There he is, Rostam. As we say, 7 points so far in the championship. So 6 on the grid. He'll certainly be looking to fire some momentum into his championship challenge in this 14-lap race, which is coming up in just a few minutes' time.
Well, exactly. There we saw the scuffed leathers as the camera was moving around. It's it's such a shame, especially when it's not your fault. We know that it wasn't him who caused the crash, but he was taken out by it. But again, rather have these experiences early on in your racing career and come away unscathed than then you can maybe learn a little bit how to position yourself down the straight. And great to see that we've already got some fans here for the event, because obviously the racing in the MotoGP classes only starts quite late on today. So really, really good to see some people coming in to support the youngsters.
As you say, Dylan, huge night in the World Motorcycling calendar. The opening round of the 2015 MotoGP World Championship coming up later on here in Doha. But a few fans already through the gate to perhaps see the stars of the future. Will any of these young riders sitting on the grid now ahead of this 14-lap race, will any of them make it to the top? Will we see them in a few years' time dicing with the likes of Marc Marquez, Jorge Lorenzo and Andrea Dovizioso? These are nervous moments for these young men as they sit waiting for the warm-up lap to start. As we say, 14 laps this second round of the championship. They move on later in the year to the Zhuhai circuit in China, the 1-minute board up there as you can see. And then there's a further, Sepang is the next race in Malaysia, I should correct myself. Then it's to Zhuhai in China, and then they rejoin the MotoGP World Championship support program at the Twin Ring Motegi in Japan, and back to Sepang for the final round in Malaysia in October.
Do you know what? You just got me thinking. You said, will they be dicing it up with those guys later on? Did you ever see the photo of I think it was a 23, 24-year-old Valentino Rossi with a very, very young Marc Marquez? These guys have obviously been taking pictures with their stars. You wonder if Marquez is still racing when he's maybe 36, and we've got one of these guys up there doing the exact same thing to him as he is to Valentino Rossi. And actually, whilst we're on that, I just want to mention we don't have a full grid. Unfortunately, as Lachlan Taylor is not able to take part, the young Australian broke his ring finger on his left hand and has to sit this one out, unfortunately.
So 21 riders make their way off for the warm-up lap. It was Kunimine yesterday that took the checkered flag by 0.03 of a second from his Thai rival Somkiat Chantra. Well, all season, Dylan, we've seen big group of riders fighting it out at the front. 9 riders it was in Thailand, and again it was yesterday, 9 riders for much of the race. I think we're going to get treated to some similar action today.
I think so. What's going to be interesting, they said yesterday there was a little bit more wind around, there was more of a breeze, and that's something which they felt actually hindered their lap times a bit, down about 1.5 seconds, as we just see the championship standing points. So we have Sasaki top with 56 points behind him, Atiraj Pupapat 46, very close behind Chantra and Kunimine with that fantastic performance yesterday. Well, in 4th place, but equal on points with 3rd.
Yeah, very close in the championship hunt already, as you say, Dylan. Just at the top 4 riders split by 11 points as they make their way around this Losail International Circuit. 3.43 miles. This Shell Advance Asia Talent Cup in the 2nd year, of course, an exciting initiative. Dorna, in conjunction with Shell Advance, launching this series to unearth and develop, nurture young talent from the Asian and Oceania region. 7 nationalities in this category, coming from Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, the Philippines, China and Australia. As we say, unfortunately, we've lost Lachlan Taylor for this weekend, but Australia represented in this race by young Tom Edwards, of course.
Yeah,
number 8, who unfortunately was caught up in that first lap incident yesterday. And we've had a problem here for McKinley Paz, the Filipino. Well, that's number 5. He hasn't even got his gloves off. It looks like there's been a mechanical failure, unfortunately, for McKinley. And he's not going to be able to even start the race from the pit lane, because as we can see in the background there, the mechanics unfortunately were wheeling that bike off back to the pits.
That's a real shame, because he also crashed out of the race yesterday, so he really could have done with a better performance. Well, he didn't even finish the first lap. It was a similar kind of incident as to Tom Edwards, and it happened a lot in this turn, in turn number 6. Now, we're seeing them coming around turn 16, but it's worth talking about turn 6. These guys do not get onto the left-hand side of the tyre so much. That's a characteristic of this Qatar track. So they need to bear in mind that the left shoulder of the tyre is a little bit colder, and take some real care as they're heading into that turn.
We saw yesterday's race run just over 31 minutes. And it all came down to the last 5 seconds. That long drag to the start-finish straight, which you can see now. And I think it's going to be all about the slipstream coming out of that final corner again today. There is number 13, Nakarin Atirapuvapat, of course, starting on pole position, 6th place he was in the race yesterday. As we said, he lost crucial drivers. He was coming down that straight. He would look like he was certainly going to be in contention for a podium finish. But here we go. The second round of this weekend's action at the Losail International Circuit in Qatar about to get underway.
And you know what? They've done a different sighting lap. They have taken their time more in this sighting lap than they did yesterday. I'm sure this was Alberto Bucci telling these guys, warm your tyres up more. Don't rush onto your positions.
So it's round 4 of the 2015 Chalabans Asia Talent Cup. The light's about to go out and we're underway in Doha.
And once again, a great start from Atirapuvapat, and it looked to be once again another slow start from Sasaki, who's going to win the drag down to turn number 1. We have the 23 bike of Andy Istihar. He looks close, but it's the Thai rider Atirapuvapat who leads into turn number 1.
Atirapuvapat coming down through turn 2 there, the number 13, starting from pole position, already trying to stretch out an early lead. It's unlikely that he's going to be able to make a breakaway. Of course, all these Honda NSF 250R Moto 3 bikes identical in spec as the field charged through turn 3, now down onto the brakes to turn 4, and it's still Atirapuvapat in the lead.
Yeah, and we had Rostam. We just saw he had slipped up into 4th place, but we have Atirapuvapat leading from Istihar, Sasaki, Asnan, and Malaysian rider Adam Noruddin.
Good start from Sasaki, the championship leader, 56 points after the first 3 races, looking to extend his 10-point lead over the race leader, number 13 there, Atirapuvapat.
And one thing we have seen, they have currently gotten through those first sections through turn 6 cleanly. That's something that we didn't see yesterday. So great news as they sweep it round to the left through turn 8 and then flick it back to the right through that fast turn number 9. They're going to be heading up to turn number 10, yet another one of the slow left-handers, but it leads out into a faster turn 11 where they get to accelerate up through the gears before they get to those crucial right-handers. Now they seem to be a bit more composed than they do yesterday, Matt.
Yeah, absolutely. Difficult conditions for the riders. This is the hottest part of the day here in Doha. They certainly wouldn't have been on track at any other time during the weekend in this. So it's going to be interesting to see physical fitness, I'm sure, is going to come into play, as well as mental strength in this intense battle at the front. But it's been Atirapuvapat who has controlled the race on this first lap as he comes into turn 15. He's got Sasaki and Istihar and the top 3 at the moment, with Asman in 4th place.
And the race winner of yesterday, Kunimine, seems to be biding his time. He's down there in 6th. You wonder, is he going to try a similar strategy as he did? Because obviously leading the race is going to be draining your energy unless you can really pull out a lead. But very interesting. Atirapuvapat already pulled out about 4 or 5 bike lanes. Now, this is something that we didn't see yesterday. You wonder whether he thinks, look, if I have good pace, if I can lead from the front, because it's that crucial slipstream. We haven't spoken about the slipstream much, Matt. That is going to be absolutely key.
Absolutely didn't. But as we saw there, Atirapuvapat, he did cross the line with about half a second advantage, but the field behind him dragging close on that slipstream, led by Sasaki. And then it's Istihar and Asman. Asman not had a great start to the season, of course. Pole position he was in Thailand last week, but only 8th in the first race at the Buriram circuit, and then 6th in the second race, and of course, didn't finish, unfortunately, yesterday. He needs to get his championship challenge back on track, slip back down to 9th in the rankings, but still, Atirapuvapat in control on the second lap here in Doha.
One person who's going to look to improve, Kazuki Masaki. He was actually in the contention for the win yesterday, but he's currently down there in 10th place. But 13 laps still to go for these youngsters. A lot more composure, no crashes yet. That is absolutely fantastic news, of course. Very sad that we don't have McKinley Paz starting up with that mechanical issue from pit lane. Such a shame for the Filipino.
Yeah, tough weekend for the number 5, McKinley Paz. Of course, he was involved in that first lap incident yesterday with Penguin Tran and Tom Edwards. And as we say, Dylan said there, he's not been able to start the second 14-lap running of the Shell Advance Asia Talent Cup here.
Yeah, we just saw Asman getting out of shape there. But here we have Sasaki. He was doing the exact same thing yesterday, Matt. Passing around turn 11, round the outside, showing amazing confidence there at high speeds under brakes as they tip it into that succession of right-handers. Fantastic to see those kind of scraps only 2 laps in.
Well, we saw him on the podium yesterday. He wasn't happy at
all. No, not at all,
with that third place. So he's going to try and set the record straight today. Is the young Japanese rider Sasaki in the lead coming through turn 15. We're about to complete the second lap here. He's still got Atirat Puvapat for company, number 23 behind him. That's Andy Izdihar.
And you know, this really is quite amazing. We have 17 bikes still within 3.5 seconds of each other now. We do expect that to string out very slightly as they cross the start-finish line. It looks like we have a group of about 10 to 12 bikes, if I can count that correctly. But Sasaki leads over the line. Will he lead into turn number 1? Yes, he will. We have Istihar up the inside of Atirat Puvapat, but can he take the outside line into turn number 2? He's positioned himself well. No, he holds it. Istihar holds it.
Fastest lap of the race so far from Masaki. He's back down in 9th, from that back of that group that's leading the slipstream charge down the start-finish straight. Masaki 4th, he was yesterday. He was 4th, but only 0.04 of a second off the victory, just missing the podium. Confirmation there. Masaki, the fastest lap, at 2:12.117. That's only 1/10 of a second outside of the lap record set yesterday by Somkiat Chantra.
Yeah, we can see at the back of the group there, Chantra just said that he's down in 12th. If you can see the slightly lonely number 6 bike of Yuta Date. He was the runner-up in the championship last year, but he has an injury to his right leg. Very, very unfortunate for the Japanese rider. He's really trying to stick in there, but we saw it again yesterday. He's trying to stick with these guys, but it's just affecting him that little bit. And Matt, you said, fitness key. Not just today, they would have done this yesterday as well.
Well, as we saw yesterday, there was a breakaway group of 9 riders. The breakaway in this second race involves about 11 riders, right back down to Fuse, 1.6 seconds back of the race leader, Sasaki. As they come through this sequence of fast right-handers, it's still number 22, Sasaki, leading this race.
But we have Losail up there now. Looks like we have, yes, that is correct. We have the number 3 bike of Losail. He's pushed himself up there into 2nd place. Fantastic riding there from the number 3 bike, the Malaysian rider.
Yeah, yesterday's race 1 winner, Takuma Kunimine. He was briefly running in 3rd position. He's lost about a couple of places there, but interestingly, I was watching yesterday's race while you and Nick Harris were doing commentary.
Oh, having a little break, were you? Yeah.
No point. I was having a little relax. No point at all throughout the whole of the 14 laps. And Kunimine led the race until he was about 3 inches away from the finish line. He timed his tactics to perfection as we crossed the line to start lap 4, and it's Sasaki, Losail, Atirat Puvapat in the top 3.
Well, look at that, top 10 separated by exactly 1 second. Absolutely amazing. And yeah, Matt, these guys, surely they've got to be watching all the Moto3 races, because I think last year we saw the groups weren't quite so big. We often saw breakaways of 3, sometimes 4 bikes. Yes, we had the occasional big group, but the level is so good, and they've got to be watching Moto3, because we know if you have equal horsepower, if you come into that final turn first, it's almost 100%. It's almost 100% certainty that you're not going to win.
Blink and you will miss it. Andy Izdihar has taken over at the front, number 23, the Indonesian. He started to the season. He had a 4th place in the second round in Thailand, 5th. He was in yesterday's race here at the Losail International Circuit from the front row of the grid. It is Izdihar who leads the pack. Atirat Puvapat still right there in podium contention, as he has been right from the lights going out. It's we've got 11 riders here. Anyone from 11 at the moment that could win this race. We're early doors, of course, still only on lap 4, but it is Izdihar that's leading the way.
Well, 11 riders, 11 laps to go. Anything can happen. I think Rostam has dropped off the pace a little bit. He did have a good start to start off with, but at the front we have got the number 23 bike of Izdihar. Sasaki still up there. You do wonder what is going through that young Japanese rider's head after the disappointment from yesterday. We saw he was so upset. So we just get a glimpse of the number 10 bike of Adam Norridin. Norridin again yesterday, very consistent. You thought, would he maybe make a break at the end? But he wasn't quite there. He dropped off. He ended yesterday's race down in 13th, so he'll be looking to really stick with that group for a lot longer this time.
Well, we said it was going to be exhilarating action, and the field have not disappointed us so far as they come down the start-finish straight to complete the 4th lap. It's Izdihar who ended the last lap in 4th. He's in the lead now. Is he going to get slipstream down this long start-finish straight? Number 13, Atirat Puvapat, darts to the inside of the track to try and take lead, 5 abreast going into the first corner, and it is indeed Atirat Puvapat who takes the lead back from Izdihar.
Yes, but he wouldn't have won that race. Did you see he crossed the line 0.008 seconds behind these guys? Matt, as we saw, he's going to be weighing it up. These guys need to now work out, how early do I need to pull out to get the slipstream and make use of it?
Big moment for Izdihar as it came out of turn 3, ran briefly onto the AstroTurf. He's lost a few places there with the number 23, although he didn't actually. He did incredibly well to get back on track and keep himself inside the top 3. But Izdihar, who was leading at the end of lap 4, drops back to 3rd, and that mistake there that he made, that's going to give him Atirat Puvapat chance to maybe have a break. As we see, great replay, 5 abreast on the brakes going into the first corner. Number 21, yesterday's race winner on the inside there, Kunimine. That would have been a brave move as he tried to dive up the inside of Atirat Puvapat, but it is the Thai rider that's leading the way.
And here it looks like we almost have a little bit of a breakaway. The number 13 bike, Atirat Puvapat, followed very closely by the number 23 bike of Izdihar. The number 21 bike of Kunimine. Are they going to be able to make a break? You do wonder because slight mistakes, if they creep in, how easy is it for the guys to catch up? But of course, we are now around the twisty section, and on the straight, they do bunch up with that slipstream, and no, they are not able to break away as we see number 23 and the Izdihar closing up.
Kunimine now in the lead, number 21. The last lap comparison, just 0.03 of a second, splitting Kunimine and Atirat Puvapat. These two are having a real good dice at the front. 10 laps to go as they come round to turn 16 to end this 5th lap. We're going to see again a huge benefit of the slipstream. A rider there at the back of this pack just momentarily running off the track as he exited through turn 15.
Yeah, that was Yuta Date there, obviously struggling with his right leg. But as yesterday, we have a group of 9 once again. They seem to like that number quite a lot. Now, what can we see down the home straight, pulling out of the slipstream? Who's going to cross that finish line first? No, once again, Izdihar. He's able to keep that lead out of that final corner. He's showing incredibly good drive now. Woof. Atirat Puvapat was almost equal on time there, and Kunimine's just 0.007 seconds now. It is woof. Matt, it's going to come down to that final lap again.
We can really see the benefit of the slipstream, Dylan, because on that last lap, piling down the start-finish straight, it was Somkiat Chantra that just set the fastest lap of the race. He's in 10th, right at the back of this group, but the effect of the slipstream, as we say, carried into that 2:11.969. That's actually a new lap record here for Chantra, who was runner-up in yesterday's race. So close he was to victory. Only 0.03 of a second he was behind Takuma Kunimine. But Chantra, he just might be biding his time here. He knows there's a long way to go. 9 laps, not even through halfway distance. No need to do anything silly at this stage of the race, as it's Izdihar back at the front.
But you do wonder at which point are they going to want to sit at least, say, in 4th or 5th position, because we know that if you're down in 9th in that final turn, you're not going to have that kind of drive. You're not going to have the kind of performance to win the race. So do you sit there? Do you relax? But also, do you run the risk of someone at the front actually pulling away as they go into that very fast turn number 11? I love watching the bikes come round here. I know we're going to see, yes, we're going to see a pass on the inside leading into turn number 12. Absolutely fantastic move there from the number 2 bike. Of Masaki. Masaki quite far back in the early stages, but he's now said, look, guys, I'm going to want to lead here. I want to up the pace.
Kazuki Masaki takes over at the front from number 23, Andy Izdihar. Masaki, the number 2. Fourth he was in yesterday's race, so close to the podium. He's now leading at the front as the field come through the final corner. Number 23, Izdihar, fights back to lead onto the start-finish straight. We're about to complete lap 6 of 14. Here it is, the freight train comes down the start-finish straight. Izdihar is going to cross the line in the lead, but will he hold it in the braking zone to the first corner?
No, it was Masaki. Masaki managed to get past in the slipstream. That's what Masaki tried to do yesterday up to the start, finish line. But woof, brave move there from Atirat Puvapat going into turn 1.
Yeah, Somkiat Chantra down in 9th position at the moment, but just 7/10 of a second behind the lead. It looks like, Dylan, in the second half of this race, as it proved yesterday, we're going to get a group of 9 that have broken away from the pack. It's Salim in 10th place, who's trying desperately to hold on to this top group. Jerry Salim, the Indonesian, currently running in 6th place in the championship, actually on 13 points. He was on the podium in the first race of the season at the Chang International Circuit in Thailand, but he's doing all he can to keep in this exciting battle at the front.
Well, yeah, Rostam struggling a little bit there as well, but you do wonder, Matt, what's going on now through these youngsters' head? They've now said, look, I've been biding my time, I've been conserving my energy, but now I want to be at the front. But will they have learned? Will they have learned from Sasaki's mistake? Well, I say mistake yesterday. They know that they need to break away at least before turn 15 if they're going to want to get that kind of drive to the line where they're not going to be slipstreamed. So tough, so tough. You know, these guys, they need to learn what are they going to be doing as we come up to the favorite passing point down into turn number 12. Are we going to see a pass from the number 2? Yes, he makes it stick, but he's going to have to keep it very, very tight. And is Izdihar going to fight back in turn number 14?
So we've seen Masaki, Izdihar, Atirat Puvapat lead on this lap. It's lap 7 of the race. We're about to get through half distance. The 9 lead riders breaking away at the front.
There we have see a replay just behind, heading into turn number 12. That looked like that was Kunimine on Losail. Atirat Puvapat leading down the home straight. What are we going to see here now? He just pulled out now. He's pulled out very, very early there, Masaki. I think Masaki just checking, can he get the drive? And yes, good drive, and he's actually led with a slightly bigger margin coming over the lead, so they can pull out earlier into the slipstream.
Saki on the brakes into the first corner. He led over at the start, finish straight, but 23 again. Andy Izdihar has fought back to take the lead. Here comes Masaki again, or Sasaki, I should say. Sasaki tried to have another look up turn 2, but couldn't make the pass stick, so it's Izdihar through this fast turn 3. It's a group of 9 riders fighting it out for this win. We have a new fastest lap from Rostam, 2:11.876. The pace hotting up all the time. Lap records being broken every lap almost in this 14-lap encounter.
Yeah, and we just saw a nice little battle there between the number 4 bike of Jerry Salim and the number 17 of Fakuri Rostam, sticking to the back of the group. You do wonder, with 7 laps to go, should they be battling, or should they be saying, look, stick with me, let's try and stick at the back of this group here?
I think we should keep an eye on, in this pack, number 18, Somkiat Chantra. We've not really seen him make a move at the front. He's quite happy just sitting there in the slipstream, not wanting to get in the fight for the top 3 at the moment, but we know he's more than capable of winning races. He won the opening round in time, and of course, runner-up last night. So I think the man to keep an eye on, certainly in this group at the moment that's not featuring at the front, is the Thai rider Somkiat Chantra.
And someone else who we've actually hardly mentioned, Kunimine, the race winner of yesterday. They're doing that exact same thing. We're using our voices more on those front 3 at the front with the number 23 bike, with Izdihar, with the number 2 bike of Masaki. What are those other 2 guys going to do? We have Kunimine in 6th, and we have Chantra in 8th.
Halfway through this fantastic Shell Advance Asia Talent Cup battle here at the Losail International Circuit in Qatar. The top 11 split by just 1.3 seconds as number 2 Masaki makes another move at the final corner on Izdihar. It's going to be Masaki again. He does like leading over the start line, Dylan. He's obviously just working out, if he's leading out the final corner, how many bikes are going to potentially slipstream him and deny him the victory.
Well, look at that. He was leading, he pulled over, so he made it difficult for the guys to get the slipstream. Izdihar went with him, but he did not sit behind him. Ajirat Puvapat very, very close, as was Sasaki Kunimine. Again, only 2/10 behind. You know, look at that. We've got this top 11 split by only 1.2 seconds.
Well, the top 4 to end that lap 8 crossed the line, split by just 0.05 of a second. Well, if you think that was close, that wasn't as close as the top 4 finished yesterday's opening 14-lap race. We're seeing another absolutely phenomenal Asia Talent Cup around here, of course sponsored by Shell Advance. It's a great initiative to find young talent, give them a passage to hopefully one day to move all the way through to the World Championship.
And I think it's fair to say, down to number 4, Jerry Salim, there is an absolutely enormous amount of talent within this group, putting on a fantastic show, so close, just sticking with each other. This is the kind of stuff that we saw Moto3 championships decided by last year.
22, Sasaki in the lead, 23 behind him. That's Izdihar. He's been right there, right from the word go. Izdihar, of course, starting from the front row of the grid, qualifying lap of 2:11.255. It was Ajirat Puvapat who actually started from pole position with a 2:10.607. We're seeing some fast lap times in this race, but the fact that, what time is it now? Local time is 2:10 in the afternoon here in Doha. Really baking hot conditions. We're not going to see anything like the 2:10 laps. But what we are going to see is some phenomenal racing between these top 11. 23 Izdihar, Dylan, back in the lead.
Well, exactly. He just made it stick going into turn number 12 there. They're just firing it into the turn number 15 here. We're going to see a replay of that absolutely fantastic composure. And there's not really that much you can do if you're on the outside, because you've got to take so much momentum into that turn, as you do here. Ajirat Puvapat taking a slightly tighter line into that final lap here. Drive out, make sure you don't get onto the AstroTurf. But is that gonna hinder him at all in this drive down to the finish line?
Izdihar will cross the line in the lead. He's got Sasaki and Masaki both close behind him. It's Masaki, though, who takes the lead. Oh, big crash there on the start, finish straight.
Oh, good that we saw the other riders get out of the way. You just wonder, did his front wheel lock up under brake? And we're about to see a replay. I'm just trying to see which number we've lost there. Looks possibly like the number 21 bike of Kunimine. Not entirely sure until we see that replay, but we do seem to be missing. It is Kunimine. That's such a shame for yesterday's race winner. He was biding his time. We couldn't quite see what happened there. Did he touch the rear wheel of someone else? But of course we're going to have to now get the yellow flags out, warn the other riders that the bike is in that braking zone.
Well, let's have a look at this. Kunimine, number 21.
Oof! He's just pulled across. He's pulled across to get into that to get into the outside line, and he's just touched. He's just touched with the number 13 right there, Ajirat
Puvapat. Yeah, that was a nasty-looking incident for the race one winner, Takumi Kunimine. Thankfully, we saw him.
He's just come
to the side of the track.
Well, it actually looks like someone else came firing across and touched his rear wheel there.
It almost looked like, of course, that his front brake lever was jammed up. Of course, all these bikes nowadays, that these modern MotoGP race bikes, throughout all the World Championship classes, they have to cover, of course, front brake protectors to avoid that incident happening. So. Yes.
They do, but look, 4 abreast now going into turn 12. I mean, they are upping the ante now. Sorry, that was turn number 12. They are upping the ante. The aggression is starting to show. Now we just hope that the rest can keep their composure, that we don't see any more crashes in these final 5 laps.
Yeah, Kunimine, we saw him walking to the side of the track. So hopefully the Japanese rider has escaped relatively uninjured in what was a nasty-looking crash. The second time this weekend that we've seen a big incident in the braking zone for turn 1. It was Fakhruzi Rostam and Helmi Asman that were involved in it yesterday. And well, Rostam is having a good run at the moment. He's 10th place, less than a second back. He's going to be at the back of this field. And so they crossed the line again. Number 23 is the heart.
It looks like Sasaki's going to lead, crossing the line ahead of Izdihar. It's so close between those two. Masaki in third. Losail up there now into fourth, and Ajirat Puvapat, you don't know whether he was shaken at all by the incident, but down there in 5th place.
The top 8 split by just 0.2 of a second as they came across the line to start lap 11.
Now they bring it round now into the fast turn number 3. The number 2 bike of Masaki leading, heading down into number 4. That is another hard braking zone for these bikes. The number 10 bike of Noradin, he looked like he was maybe going to make a move up the inside, but decided against it in the end. Can we see Wolf? Look at that, it was tight, it was tight. We had the number 10 bike of Noradin and Russell. There was almost contact there with Russell's front wheel and Noradin's rear, but they managed to keep it upright. These guys, they're going to have to keep their composure. They want to lead into that turn one, but I think as they know from yesterday, you're not going to win leading into turn one. You're going to sticking behind the rear wheel of someone leading out of turn 16.
Masaki, Atarat Puvapat second. Izdihar remains in third place.
Well, are these two going to try and break away now at all? Can they break away? That's the big question. They might give it a try. But down that start-finish straight, the other guys are generally going to keep up.
I think with the aid of the slipstream, then it's impossible for them to break away. And of course, we know that these Honda NSF 250R Moto 3 bikes, they're all identical.
Yes.
So it's so difficult when there's a level playing field in terms of the machinery and the talent. We have to say, there's not a lot between these riders running at the front. It makes the racing so close and so hard for anybody to make a breakaway. As number 13, Atarat Puvapat takes over again at the front. 4 laps to go as we come through the penultimate corner. We're about to see yet another drag race down to the start-finish line. Atarat Puvapat through the final corner, leading number 2, Kazuki Masaki.
Well, you'd think the only way that they could actually lead with a slipstream is just getting an exceptional drive into the final turn, but you might have to take too much risk going into that final turn to get that drive in. Different strategies here, we're seeing them both swapping positions. So Masaki did lead going over the finish line. Atarat Puvapat second with Izdihar in third, so they are weighing each other up now, and they're saying, look, I can pull over to the left, you over to the right.
But Atarat Puvapat, he actually did sweep right back to take the lead momentarily at the first corner. But number 23, Andy Izdihar, has taken it back at turn 2 as they sweep through this fast right-hander. Turn 3, now down to turn 4. It's Izdihar in the lead.
And look at that, Adam Noradin in third place. Noradin in third. That's for the guy who finished in 13th place yesterday. So a big improvement there. A big improvement there from the from the Malaysian youngster.
Yet one podium finish last year from Aaron Noradin. Started 4th on the grid in Thailand, the best result of 6. He's chasing a second career podium in the Shell Advance Asia Talent Cup. 3.5 laps to go. Masaki, Atarat Puvapat, Izdihar, Noradin, Losail, Sasaki, Chantra, Asman and Rostan, really, you have to say, all riders in with a shout of taking this second checkered flag. 25 points up for grabs. It's still Atarat Puvapat in the lead.
Oh, and that looks like someone going very wide in the into turn number 10. That looked like it could have been Rostam. For me, the big question is, Matt, what is Chantra going to do? Is Chantra going to show his card anytime soon? Because he's still sat there behind the number 3 bike of Russell.
He's right there in the middle of the group, as we said, isn't he, Dylan? Number 18, second place he was yesterday, Chantra. Third in the championship rankings at the moment, level on points with 45 points with Kanumine. Unfortunately, we've lost out of this 14-lap race. A nasty-looking accident for the Japanese rider on the start-finish straight just a couple of laps ago. Thankfully, it does look like he is okay, but it is going to be Atarat Puvapat through the final corner. 3 laps to go.
And now for the first time with Adam Noradin on his heels. What is Noradin going to be doing? Is he going to weigh him up? Is he going to stick there? Is he going to see what he can possibly do out of the slipstream? He's still behind him. He's decided not to pull out. He is not pulling out, crossing that start-finish line.
Noradin in second place. As you say, Dylan, they've obviously worked some magic on his bike overnight.
Yes.
He was 13th in yesterday's race, 19 seconds behind the winner, Kunimine. But it's Noradin right at the front, 2 laps to go. But it is still Atarat Puvapat, the Thai rider, second in the championship, 10 points behind his great rival, Ayumu Sasaki. Crucial championship points at stake.
Yeah, they are at stake, and these guys hopefully are not going to be thinking too much about the championship points, but just about the race ahead. They're really going to have to think now, where can I position myself in this final lap? You can't lose out now. You cannot set a foot wrong. These bikes rely on corner speed. They rely on momentum. You just cannot get out of shape as everyone gets through turn number 10 cleanly, leading up to through turn 11 into turn 12. One of those favourite passing points.
Number 2,
Sorry, I got that wrong. Into turn number 7.
Number 2, Kazuki Masagi. He's dropped back down to 5th place. He lost out big style on the slipstream on the previous lap, as it is still Nakarin Atirat Puvapat leading this race, 2 laps to go. Noureddin Izdihar behind him. Noureddin, the Malaysian, as we said, only 13th yesterday. So that's we've got one of the pack there running wide, coming through that fast turn 11.
Looked like Losail just getting wide on turn number 10. Obviously, you get on the gas so soon coming out there, so you don't lose out. But he managed to stay on the bike, but he has lost momentum. That is going to be a big job for Losail to catch up to the back of the group.
As you say, Dylan, quite rightly, it was number 3, Shafiq Losail, the number 3. 8th in yesterday's race. He was having a real strong run inside the top 6.
Oh, it was actually a touch.
There.
It was a touch, yeah. I apologise, it wasn't him getting out of shape, it was contact.
And that looks like it's certainly going to cost Losail any hope of him getting on the podium, because as they come round now the final corner to start the final lap, it's going to be number 13, Nakarin Atirat Puvapat, who's going to lead the field to start this final lap of this exciting Shell Advance Asia Talent Cup race.
And this is interesting, we have not seen such a lead going into the home straight since lap number 1. Can he keep it? Can he keep it? Or is it Izdihar? Is he going to get it the inside? No, he doesn't. Atirat Puvapat retains the lead. Can he make it stick? Can he now try and pull that little gap that's needed to lead over the start-finish line? Izdihar in second. Bike number 10 of Noureddin. Fantastic race there from the Malaysian youngster. Sasaki close behind Masaki. They were in similar positions yesterday at this point in the race. What are they going to do? Are they going to make their move leading into the final turn? Are they going to make their move before?
Atirat Puvapat still leading on this final lap. Can he hold it for a second victory of the season? 23 behind him, Andi Izdihar, the Indonesian, 5th in yesterday's race. It's Izdihar, Noureddin, Sasaki, Masaki, Chantra, Asman, any one of them really could still win this 14-lap race. But it's Atirat Puvapat still in control, 23 behind him. That's Andi Izdihar.
Well, no one daring make a move as they flick it right through turn number 9. They don't want to get out of shape. We saw what happened to Losail earlier on, going into that turn 11. You do wonder, is anyone going to make a move now? And we saw an incident now coming up on the time screen. Incident between rider 21 and 13 under investigation.
Well, that's Atirat Puvapat and Kunimine. So I guess that's the incident in the braking zone for the first corner, which we saw yesterday's race when Kunimine out. We'll come back to that later on, but it is that man, number 13, Nakarin Atirat Puvapat, still leading this race. They're coming down now to turn 15, the penultimate corner. It's going to be all about now the drive through this final left-hander, down on that short squirt of acceleration to the final corner. Atirat Puvapat has done a great job here. He's got a bit of daylight between himself and Izdihar in second place. Izdihar great on the brakes into the final corner.
You know what? I think Atirat Puvapat may have done it. He's taken a huge amount of momentum into that final turn. Can Izdihar do something in the slipstream? Atirat Puvapat, he moves across.
Coming out the slipstream, Atirat Puvapat. It's going to be Izdihar. Izdihar took it right at the finish line. Izdihar by 200ths of a second from Sasaki. Atirat Puvapat, who led all the way down from the final corner to within metres of the finish line. He finishes in 3rd place. Chantra 4th, Asman 6th, and Adam Noureddin, who was running second on that final lap at one point, in 6th position. But let's have a look, 500ths of a second covered the top 3, but what a move by Izdihar. He really took advantage of that slipstream to deny Atirat Puvapat. Andi Izdihar, the Indonesian, great victory, 5th yesterday, and that's done wonders for his championship challenge. That'll move him on to 49 points. His first podium of the season. Brilliant stuff from number 23.
Such exciting racing, man. And do you know what? Looking down, I wonder whether Atirat Puvapat got out of shape. It looked like his left foot was pushing down frantically. I wonder whether he maybe didn't get it into gear exactly when he wanted to. Look at that. Let's have a look at the left. No, he did manage to shift up before. Look at that. It's just, you cannot lead into that final corner. We've said it. Atirat Puvapat tried his best to pull a gap. It's just not possible.
Here we go. This is the decisive moment of that fantastic 14-lap race. Atirat Puvapat must have thought at this stage he was going to win the race, but unfortunately it was a great slipstream by Andi Izdihar. He got his tactics absolutely spot on. He took the checkered flag by just 200ths of a second from the Japanese rider Ayumu Sasaki, and that's Ayumu Sasaki's continuing his 100% podium record. That will actually increase his championship lead over Atirat Puvapat. As we look at a video finish, we'll have to determine 5th position. That's how close it was between the top 6. Another fantastic race for the Shell Advance Asia Talent Cup.
Let's look at fifth place here. That's between Azman and Noradin.
Well, that's what 0.05 of a second looks like when you cross the finish line here at the Losail International Circuit, because Atirat Puvapat, he must have thought he'd won a second race of this Shell Advance Asia Talent Cup campaign. There's number 22, Ayuma Masaki. He'll be happy with his business this week. Second on the grid to third yesterday. And,
well, exactly, one better. But I guarantee you, he's still not going to be as happy as he would be. You know, these guys, they all want the win. They all want that win. But one person who wanted to win, Atirat Puvapat, big question now. They said that his move with Kunimine that caused the crash was under investigation. Now, of course, he's on the podium now until we hear anything else, but you do wonder, is this going to affect his podium at all? We need to find out pretty soon if it is. Near the number 23 bike, the race winner is Dihar, heading into Park Ferme. Celebrations there from the Indonesian youngster.
Yeah, the 17-year-old Indonesian from Bulakumba. Well, look at there, that's jubilation for that number 23. What a great feeling to win his first race in the Shell Advance Asia Talent Cup. As we say, still that video finish in progress for 5th.
Big emotion.
So these are emotional scenes at the Losail International Circuit. He's delighted with that. Didn't he do well? He had to work so hard. He was right there in that big group of riders fighting all the way through that 14-lap race. And as we say, he really did time his attack to perfection on that long run down to the start-finish line. It did look like Atirat Puvapat was going to take his second win of the season, but well, he was mugged right on the line by Izdihar and then Sasaki. Atirat Puvapat having to settle for third. As Dylan said, that incident earlier on with Kunimine under investigation by the race officials here in Doha. We'll keep you posted on the outcome of that.
Well, exactly, just fantastic to see, just the emotions there, and it just shows how much it means. I think we forget how young these guys are, and actually what they're doing. That they are racing along the MotoGP racing series. You know, these guys, they are up there with their heroes. It just, well, I love watching scenes like this.
Well, with the Moto3 paddock watching on, this is their shop window, Dylan. This is their opportunity to show the world their talent. Of course, we know Alberto Puig, heavily influential in this Shell Advance Asia Talent Cup Series. Alberto, a fairly renowned kingmaker. There he is on the right-hand side of your screens. Very influential Alberto, of course, in the careers of Tony Elias, Danny Pedrosa, Casey Stoner, all went on under his stewardship to win Grand Prix world titles. So if you're going to have a mentor and a tutor out there, Alberto, one of the best. And of course, the former 250cc world champion Hiroshi Ayama also closely involved. So he'll be pretty happy, I'm sure, watching back home in Japan, Ayama, that Sasaki, his compatriot, on the podium.
And as we said, Sasaki, he's not going to be happy. He's already discussing, this was wrong with the bike. This is where I was struggling. But today is all about this. This man, the number one bike. The number one bike of Izdihar. And there we have Atirat Puvapat. We've heard no further news about the incident with the crash. And we also have news now that the video finish is confirming 5th position for Azman. So no change there from the original standings.
So Sasaki moves on to 76 points in the championship, increases his lead over Atirat Puvapat to 14 points. And then it's at Somkiat Chantra. He completes the top 3 on 58. But that was a good move from Sasaki. Increased his advantage in the championship. He went into that 14-lap race with a lead of 10 points over Atirat Puvapat. And he's increased it by 4, thanks to that second place, maintaining his 100% record on the podium.
And here we have the builders watching on again from the handball stadium there. And here we have the final results. Andy Izdihar takes the win ahead of Ayumu Sasaki and Nakarin. Atirat Puvapat. 4th place goes to Somkiat Chantra ahead of Helmi Azman. Adam Noradin in 6th place. 7th place to Kazuki Masaki. 8th place Jerry Salim. And 9th Fakhrusi Rostam.
Completing the top 10, Shafiq Rasul, contact on the last lap, denied him a chance to fight for the podium. Date, last year's runner-up in 11th. Fuse, Anwar, Aguru, Chen, Yamanaka, Srimtru and Chen completing the top 18.
And rounding out the field, Tom Edwards, great job from the 13-year-old Australian youngster. Did not crash out of the race this time, but we do have dead of the crash for Kunimine, and McKinley Pass, very unfortunate, did not get to start the race because of mechanical problems.
Yeah, that nasty incident at turn 1 earlier in the race for Kunimine. Confirmation there of the championship standings. It's Sasaki on 76 points, who opens up a 14-point lead over Atirat Puvapat. Chantra a further 18 points behind. Misaki in 4th. Izdihar up 2 places in the championship with that fantastic victory to 5th. And it's Kunimine, Salim Azman and Shafiq Rasol completing the top 9.
Yeah, and here we have the movers slightly lower down the field. Norodin with his great performance goes up a couple of places. Both Yuta Date and Kaita Fusei down a place. Vakuri Rostam with his ride gains 2 places. But Ai Ogura and Yuan Hang Chen both lose a position, with Sri Montri rounding out the field down in 18th place. So here we go, the podium for race 2 here at the Losail International Circuit for the Shell Advanced Asia Talent Cup. We're about to see the riders come out to collect their trophies. And a big change to yesterday, we're not going to be hearing the Japanese national anthem, we're going to be hearing the, the Indonesian national anthem.
Yeah, he'll be delighted to stand on that top step of the podium. Andy Izdihar, the first time in the Shell Advanced Asia Talent Cup that he's done so. And he did a fantastic job slipstreaming Atirat Puvapat on the finish line to come from 2nd to 1st.
I think it's still, well, we're just being flagged up. We still have the incident between with Atirat Puvapat and Kunimine under investigation. We wonder whether that's holding up the podium at all. Obviously, we hope. Well, we know that Kunimine managed to walk away from the crash. For Atirat Puvapat's sake, we hope that that there wasn't any malintent there, that it wasn't him that caused the crash. Well, I'm sure from a personal point of view there was no malintent there, but of course we hope that it wouldn't have affected his podium results. But we wait to find out. But Matt, just in terms of these racing, this racing, I mean, it's setting them up so well for the future. As we see them coming out onto the podium, Atirat Puvapat. So at the moment, it is not affecting his 3rd place.
Atirat Puvapat so close to a 2nd victory of the season. Just at 0.05 of a second back he was of the eventual race winner Izdihar. Behind the championship leader Ayumu Sasaki, who's been Mr. Consistency so far in this 2015 Shell Advanced Asia Talent Cup. 2nd in Thailand in the first race, 2nd again in the 2nd race in Buriram. And then 3rd he was at the Losail International Circuit yesterday, 2nd today, as we welcome onto the podium Atirat Puvapat. We hope that he does keep that place to them. Obviously, that impending investigation after that incident with Kunimine.
Well, yeah, exactly. I think as we see Sasaki come out onto the podium,
we might a little bit happier than what he did with 3rd yesterday. I suppose one place better.
Well, exactly. You wonder what kind of stages of emotions he has, but this man has only one stage of emotion at the moment. There were tears in Parc Ferme, tears of joy, and now he is up there in 1st place. Izdihar takes his 1st race win as we prepare for the trophy handouts.
Yeah, this will be a momentous occasion in the career of younger Andy Izdihar. As we say, 17 years of age from Indonesia. And he'll remember this day for a very, very long time. He's about to get the victory trophy for this 2nd Shell Advanced Asia Talent Cup race here at the Losail International Circuit in Doha. Great moment in the career of Andy Izdihar as he lifts aloft that magnificent trophy.
So there, ladies and gentlemen, one more time, put your hands together for Nakarin Ativat Fuvapat, Ayumu Sasaki, and our winner, Andy Idzihar. Yet another fantastic race here, ladies and gentlemen, for the Shell Advance Asia Talent Cup. They will move on now to round 3 in the 6-round series, and keep your eye on these names because you could well see these riders here in the Grand Prix in Moto3 and even MotoGP in the future.
Well, I think it's fair to say we certainly hope that we're going to see these guys here in Moto3 and in MotoGP. Of course, you do always wonder which one is it going to be. So many talents, but so many more races they've got to run, so many more things that can happen, so much more experience to gain. But certainly for today, these three would have gained some vital experience, not just out on track, but away from it. The emotions of Parc Ferme, the emotions of just losing out, and of course the emotions of winning a race by only 0.3 of a second. So we come to the end of an amazing race number 2. And it was once again, it was a fantastic start from Atirat Puvapat from the off. But it was Sasaki who was fighting with him early on in the stages. We had groups of up to about 14 riders strong, and it was fantastic to see everyone got away cleanly this time. There were no incidents like we saw in race 1 on the first lap. Now, Atirat Puvapat tried to pull away a bit of a lead at the start, but wasn't quite able to, as we had a close field with Istihar and Sasaki behind. We saw the passing going into turn 12, that favourite passing point, especially from Japanese rider Sasaki, and it proved to be the case for many, many laps. Istihar did make his move at the end of the straight in the later stages, with numerous riders running wide there. A couple of times into that very difficult turn number 1. The front group did thin out towards the end. We did drop down to about 9 riders. With the number 2 bike of Masaki, he was up there yesterday. He was also trying to fight it up there again today, running in second place for quite a few laps. And then we had this unfortunate incident. Race winner of yesterday, Kunimine, was taken out of the running. Very fortunate to walk away. He did look slightly bruised. The incident was under investigation with Atirat Puvapat. Nothing said before the end of the race. But as we came to the end, it was Atirat Puvapat who led out of turn 1, but it was Istihar who took the win by 0.03 seconds ahead of Sasaki and Atirat Puvapat. So as we end race 2, it is Istihar who leads, but it is Sasaki who is the championship leader as we head towards round 3.